Let's really do what we're supposed to do now.
All right. Hey, everybody, we're here for a new episode of RLG Cast Reviews. We are talking about Batman, the Caped Crusader. I think it's just called Caped Crusader
Cape Crusader,
on
yeah.
Amazon
Well,
Prime or HBO
it's called
Max.
Batman Crusader because it has the Batman on top
Crypt
of it when you watch
Crusader.
it.
Crypt.
Crypt Crusader.
uh,
He
I'm here
wears
with Johnny
blue.
Donuts
Like,
777. I'm here with Putty, the Putty Man, and we're just gonna jump into this. We'll give you a couple of minutes of spoiler free. I don't want to
Mhm.
keep that for too long, so you can leave if you don't want spoilers after that. Putty, tell us what this show's about.
So this is actually, in my eyes, and I could be wrong, a reimagining of the original '90s Batman animated series. It has the same animation style, has the same feel, goes progressively into a more adult, but it's the early years of Batman, but changed dramatically. Where the Rogues Gallery might seem different, things of that nature. But it's kind of it feels like it's a heartwarming reminiscence or nostalgia or whatever you might want to call it of to the old animated series, but it's basically a reimagining of the old animated series.
Yeah, I would call it a 1940s reimagining of the early days of Batman.
yeah.
Well, I mean, when you say the early, when you say the original animated series kind of had that same aesthetic
Yeah,
too,
but I
this one
wouldn't
just have
I don't think you
I
need
would,
that
I would,
comparison.
the original series, I would call modern Gothic.
well,
Even
yeah, and
nevertheless, the modern series is supposed to take place in modern day. It just has the
Aesthetic.
aesthetic of like 40s, 50s
Yeah.
times,
so
right?
basically like what they're
This
doing
one
with Fan
actually
4.
takes place in the 40s.
Okay, okay.
Um, Anywho, what did you guys think? No
I
spoilers yet.
I liked it. I liked each episode was a self-contained episode with like a slight arc kind of connecting everything together.
See,
That's gonna
I didn't like that. I
Mm-mm.
thought that's what made it really hard to keep my attention was because every episode can't decide if it's trying to tell you a season long story or just a story right now, and it's really tonally off balance like that.
But it
Um,
did. The whole season long story is the Harvey Dent arc
yeah, but you get a little bit in the beginning, and then all of it comes in the last two
at the
episodes,
end.
and
Well, see,
then the middle is just like a bunch of one offs with like small.
well, it's absolutely true because here's the thing: I didn't when you watch this, especially starting from the first episode, it definitely feels like they're just doing one for each character. Which then when I watched the first episode, some of the things you see seem very typical outside of maybe some changes, to original lore. But it felt like a traditional Batman cartoon where you had one episode, one villain kind of situation. But then after that, it took a different direction. So it's like it was hit or miss when it came between both, where some days the interconnected story would continue in the next episode, and then you would have one that would just be a single shot, like a comic book issue, if you look at it that way. But then at times, it's like, for example, it would foreshadow something that was pretty easy to figure out, while the other times it foreshadowed things I'm like, I wasn't expecting that to happen. It's a little bit odd, you know? So it's one of those shows that feels like it's trying to prove something, but at the same time, make sure that making all the fans happy. Does that make sense? Like I didn't.
Okay, I agree with you to a point because I think you do have a really good point there where it's like trying to give fan service, but I think that they take, and we won't spoil this yet until we get to
Yeah.
open talk, but they take a lot of liberties with the ideas of Batman. And I don't necessarily have a personal issue with it. I think for me, I was just like, whatever. But a lot of times when stuff would happen, I'd look at it and be like, but why did you need to change that?
Yeah.
Um, Stuff like that. I like just to hit on some good things. I think the animation's really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think the art style is really good. The animation I wasn't a huge fan of like the way people move. If anyone wants to know the difference, art style is the way it looks. Animation is the way things move. So the way that the fight scenes function, it kind of looked like old technology in a way. Like you're so
It looked
advanced
like the
now.
90s series. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
so advanced now. I thought they would clean stuff like that up a bit. The way that they're like chunky fight scenes, like blocky, like
Well, well,
like
Reuse backgrounds kind of thing.
well.
um
It didn't really bother me in that situation. It was more because the thing is with the aesthetic. I feel like if you watch this, if you take a step back and watch this as a new fan, then yeah, I agree. As an old fan of the old series, then I get why they kind of do that because it does feel like it feel appeals to that kind of animation like back in
but
the
I
day.
think
Like
going back to what you said, even in that sense, I agree. And I think that's kind of how they hook people in this, because I know that a lot of the fans, for a fact, like it's not like I talk to them, I can just tell that a lot of the fans of the original series are upset about a lot of the choices that they made here.
Yeah.
I
But
know exactly what you're talking about.
and
We're
we'll
going, yeah.
talk about this.
Yeah.
Don't worry. There's one specifically that is the only one I think I can point at that everybody I talk to is like, nah.
I have a feeling I know it is, yeah.
But
Everybody knows what it is, but yeah.
the music is really good.
Yeah.
Throughout the music is fantastic. I think the voice acting is really good.
Yeah, they got a lot of big name people on this.
And the guy who plays Batman, his name just literally slipped out of my head.
Hamish Linklater.
Hamish Linklater is
See,
the best, I think, possible choice that you could have made to stay close to Kevin Conroy, but also it's different.
Yeah.
See, the two casting I was shocked about was for well, I guess, is it spoilers to talk about characters?
That would be a spoiler if that's what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, so there's two casting. One, well, I guess I can see the actor, not the character, right? Is that okay? Or
Yeah,
that
okay.
work right now? Okay. For example, Christina Ricci's in this, and I actually did not expect, because I'm a fan of hers since I was younger, and I was not expecting it. But of course, when I heard the voice, I go, "Is that her?" But then it fits. But then at other times, some of the actors, I go, I just don't feel right about it. And she was actually one that felt comfortable to me, and I didn't know people even realized it was her.
I think a lot of the translation of the voice acting is what I didn't like. I think generally everyone did a good job, but I think sometimes you hear a voice for a character and you're so used to it sounding like this that when it sounds like that, you're like, what's happening right now? Right? It's kind of like the Harley Quinn situation when they had Kaylee Cuoco become Harley Quinn, and at first you're like, whatever, but by season 3, you're like, okay, I kind of like her. You know what I mean?
Or when they replaced what's her name, Arlene Sorkin with
yeah,
Tara
what's
Strong.
her face? Tara Strong. And it sounds way different, by the way, from Arlene Sorkin to Tara Strong. It's very off. Neither one is bad or anything.
And John DiMaggio is just John DiMaggio. You could recognize that voice anywhere.
Yeah, I know, but isn't it crazy? Like, he kind of just always sounds the same.
I'm like, what is this, Futurama? I hear Bender Rodriguez.
Yeah, it's like I hear
I heard Marcus Phoenix.
Wait, no, who's Darkwing Duck? Jim.
Yeah, Jim Cummings.
Jim Cummings.
John DiMaggio's
He's probably in here somewhere.
He's Jake the dog from Adventure Time.
Yeah. Anywho,
you got a former Batman playing Harvey Dent, though.
Yeah. Yes, we do. And I kind of like. I thought he at first when I heard him, I was like, I knew right away who it is.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Batmans, Brave and the Bold. Anyways, though, it's overall it's a pretty good show. I think we'll score it now and then we'll go into open table spoilers. Okay. It's what it is missing though. I think it's tonally awkward. I think it delves too deep into metahumans without giving us any explanation that how they function in this universe. So I want to just I gotta give you some. If I was rating this with my complete just loving Batman opinion, it's a 7.5, and that's where I will score it. But I will admit, if I remove my bias, it's probably a lot closer to a 7 for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm at a 7.5. I enjoyed it tonally. A few of the decisions I kind of didn't agree with, but it was fine for what it is. I just look at it. It's a different timeline, so it's a different.
I had to really talk to myself in my head to remind myself like this doesn't exist, right?
Yeah, this is not real. It could be a different timeline. It's multiverse.
Yeah.
I guess same situation. I had trouble scoring this because there were episodes in here I'm like, wow, this is like a 9 in my eyes. And then some I'm like, oh, this is like 4 or 5. Like, this is just, I couldn't get into it. I don't like this character being made this way. So I guess I'm going to have to follow the same path you guys. I say 7. I guess that feels like it's a marginally sets up in there or fits in that, number line. It's just the problem is like, this is one of those shows I feel like it has growth, especially when we got the ending, because I was like, well, we'll get into that, even me talking about it. But it's like, I'm still very like.
See, we'll talk about the ending. I feel that was shoehorned in.
Well, yeah, that as well as again, if I say what I was going to say, then that's kind of spoilers anyway.
Yeah.
Even if it's just say what it is. But my point to the thing is, It's like I'm still in my head wanting to give it a lower score, but then in my head for like I look at one episode and go, oh, like I think it was episode 2. I was like that episode was amazing. You know what I
Episode
mean?
2 was great. That was
It
Episode
was
2 was great.
yeah.
and
That
see
was the
that's
Clayface episode, right?
oh well spoilers I
Well,
guess
I mean,
now.
Wow,
he's
spoilers. Okay, listen. We're 3, 2, 1. We're going into spoilers. If you don't want to hear spoilers, leave. You heard our
well,
scores.
he's a villain, big deal. Like
I'm
you know
giving
he's
No, but that's
I'm listen to me on this clock right now. I'm putting 12 minutes on the clock. This video will be shut off in 12 minutes, whether you're finished talking or
okay.
not.
okay. So that brings up place. We're in spoilers now. Okay, so right. Okay, so
Yeah.
here's the thing. Let's start with the first episode, and I'm going to be quick about this. First episode, I don't mind the gender bang opinion, but I feel like that's the one everyone was mad about. I'm guessing
That is the one everyone's mad about because
yeah.
it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I get what I'm going to say. This
Are they?
I
It's to me, it felt like pandering a little bit.
But
But then
hold
again,
on,
I
finish,
love
finish your
I
story, Putty. Go, and then we'll all talk.
But here's my thing. Here's where the thing goes wrong for me. In that episode, because they call her the penguin, they name drop. Then second episode was such a great start off in my eyes of the series because you didn't know it was Clayface. You got the foreshadowing when they talked about the changing faces and everything, or when you wanted to get the new face. I was like, oh, this might be Clayface. And then all of a sudden, here's the great thing. The only thing they do is they show Clay on the table. That's it. We don't get the actual name drop. And that's what I loved about this series. It didn't ever sit there and say, oh, that guy's name is Two-Face. And I thought that was going to happen when I saw the first episode when he said Penguin. But then we never heard the name Clayface. We never heard the name Two-Face.
we do hear the name. Come on, Firebug. It's Firefly.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's more of a joke, and I get it. But they didn't.
and
They
spoiler,
didn't
they
take
straight up murder him.
Yeah, I know. And see,
Like
I do
that
like the
was
push
dark.
but that's my point.
Like Penguin kills her son. Like there was like some dark moments.
I mean, it's very adult.
Yeah. And I like
see,
that's what I liked about that's what really drove me towards the show.
I think though I like that aspect of it, but I think it doesn't need to be like an anime blood spray fest, but I think it could have been more graphic given
they could have
what
gone
it
a
was.
little darker.
It's already not for kids. You've proven that. So why not go a little bit more?
Well, I mean,
you don't have to go full on the boys, but like
yeah, but you could give me a little bit, right?
Well, like I said, there's so many moments in the show where, like, for example, why start off with the penguin episode? It just feels so janky in that episode. But then I was like, let's continue, and then we get to the Clayface episode, which in my eyes still is the whole series is my favorite episode.
that is the best episode.
Yeah, it is such a great episode,
and that sets up my theory for the finale.
Well, okay. So here's the thing. Going into that, when we get to then, like when you said Harley Quinn, I liked Harley Quinn as Harley Quinn, okay, or Harleen Quinzel. I liked Harleen Quinzel as a sidekick. Then I thought maybe the because again, I was like, okay, so Joker is going to be in this, which of course they again, we're in spoilers. That's right at the end they show Joker. So to give her that arc of like, why is she wearing a clown outfit then? Like, why is this like if you're a psychiatrist?
He is dressed like Harlequin from the novels.
Oh. Okay, that makes sense then. But
there's like an Italian novel from the 17 or 1800s, Arlecchino e Puccinella. Arlecchino is where they get Harley Quinn from.
Okay, so that's
how they're supposed to be dressed.
Okay, so that's fine then. But the point is like when she goes to the dark side, I guess you can call it, on her end, it doesn't. I don't like her anymore, and that's the weird thing.
I like that. I like the fact.
Didn't.
See, I like because you have this mentality of how Harley Quinn's supposed to be in your mind, right?
No. It's not that. Here's the thing. I told you I liked Harleen Quinzel, okay, as a psychiatrist or anything. If she was to like stay in that character, but then show the menacing side without the clown outfit, here's my thing. I don't mind. I understand that's what it originally looked for, but also I know, and I know these are changing well as far as the others, the series, but like. When it comes to like that whole idea, it always appealed from the Joker thing. So they're now making it a separate thing. Okay, fine.
But doesn't it seem weird to anybody that after the Harley Quinn actual show, we've now canonized the fact that she's a lesbian?
Yeah, but that happened in that happened in the comic books too. Anyway.
Yeah, but it's like you went 20, 30 years of her being in love with the Joker to now she's a lesbian, and
even in Birds of Prey.
Right. And it to me, it kind of takes away from the hold that Joker has on her because she doesn't have feelings.
Maybe they want to separate the characters. Like,
I mean, maybe they're going to say she's bisexual now, but
what I like is the fact that this Harley Quinn feels like she's doing good, but she's not.
Yeah, but
I like that idea. I like that.
Even the villains, think Batman is bad. Like
Right,
everyone
but-
in Gotham has the impression that Batman is bad.
And see,
And I
JD,
like the
that's what-
fact that Bullock is evil in this.
Yeah. But JD, that's actually the part I agree with you with. Okay, is but her being a psychiatrist, the way she is, you would think because she knows the psyche mind of people that if you dress up, if you do all that, that is pushing the envelope of going crazy. So she should know that as a psychiatrist. And every relationship she has on the side is different. Like I would get it if maybe it was a snap and it was a multi-personality, but no, it isn't. Because remember, when she actually sees Barbara and all that, she didn't suddenly change. She's suddenly the same way, but she's more concerned. And that's where it kind of broke me for her. Is because you're either going to go full crazy or you're going to be sentimental. And the problem is, if you're not going to do that as a multiple personality situation, then I can't grasp that character. And that's where I
Bipolar.
feel
She could be bipolar.
that's fine. But the thing is that's still a situation of if she's a psychiatrist and she's familiar with this and she's actually certified, this should be something that is well known. And of course, it is. I mean, I know I'm going deep into the psyche of it, but this is grounded on her character
Well, if you want to go deep into the psyche of it, first of all, we're done here because that's 5 minutes talking about Harley Quinn. But if you want to go deep into the psyche of it, then you should understand the fact that her knowing everything so well that the psychiatrist part of her is her putting up a front, and she's so good at understanding people's brains, she knows how to trick them into believing that
she
this
can
is who
hide it.
she is, but she's really the crazy person. And
okay,
so she's actually a psychopath. And the whole time she's just making everyone believe that they're the ones with problems when she's really the ones with problems. And she's manipulating the people in Gotham for her own benefit. She's learning secrets about everybody and then feeding them what she wants them to think. And I think that's where the Joker's going to come into play, that he's been like masterminding what she's doing and like tricking everybody into it, which we could see because we don't know yet. He's going to give us a thing. What I don't like, okay, we got to just get this out of the way before we run out of time. There's so many sex changes. There's so many sexuality changes. There's so many race changes, and none of them do anything to change anything. Am I mad about them? No. Like I said, I'm perfectly fine with them, except the Penguin one because it literally makes no sense. The other ones don't bother me.
Well, I mean, we had a black Jim Gordon in the Batman.
We have, right?
And Jeffrey Wright was
I don't
fantastic.
mind that.
But this is the thing, and this is where I had to remind myself we're in another universe, and I don't want to be like politically whatever. But in 1940s, you probably weren't going to see a black police chief. Let's just
be honest about that. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
but
had to keep reminding, okay, this is obviously like it's fake. It's all like I want, because the show is so grounded. It's so grounded. And to have things like the episode with the carnival is like you're just, and the one with the ghost in the mansion, it's just like in your head, you're like, how did I get here?
Yeah.
See, that's the weird part. Is like that's where outside of the
and how do we get the ghost one without Gentleman Ghost?
But that's the other thing. So, for example, the only scene when it comes to like what I call the one shots, we had all the one shots. We had the Penguin, we had the Clayface,
the Catwoman,
the Catwoman, and then the circus one. Oh no, and then
the ghost one.
The ghost one. Okay, so that's 6 out of 10 episodes. So then everything that was interconnecting was either through the Gordon, which of course is the snipers and everything. Which then there's the Harvey Dent. And that's pretty much the as far as like the
also Harley Quinn is Asian. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But sorry, I just want to say this because I don't want to seem like I'm like some crazy person.
Yeah, but Jamie Chung is great though.
But that's fine. I love her. I don't want to seem like I'm a crazy person. If you're going to do these things, race swap, sex swap, make them a different sexuality, make that such a fucking deep part of the story that it matters. Don't just do it to be surface level bullshit.
Well, here's the thing. I know why they're doing it, and at the same time, I'm not going to mention why. I just know why they're doing it. When I went into this after seeing the first episode, I said, okay, we're going to have something like this. I better keep an open mind to things, not because I'm mad, because I know they're trying to give a new approach to it. So I'm like, okay, let's enjoy this based on the simplest terms.
Which is why it didn't. None of it bothers me, right?
Yeah.
But it's just like if you're going to make those changes, make them count.
Yeah.
But
don't just do it because you want to be like, okay, we did it.
Well, like for example, I don't know why would you guys give the score? And for me, the score was not based on even the characters, even though there's a few that bothered me because I feel like there was no balance.
We just said a bunch of the stuff, right? Like
right, but
before Campo ends this, I want to get into my theory.
Okay.
At the end of the season, they kill off Harvey Dent. My theory is that's not Harvey Dent. That's why we had the Clayface episode. That's actually Clayface that gets shot and not Harvey Dent.
It could be true.
And Harvey Dent goes in hiding.
That's possible.
That's my theory, at least. I just wanted to get that off my chest before.
No, but that's actually makes a lot of sense.
Well, I kind of hope not. And here's the reason why. I liked the idea of this series. Maybe even, let's say they do like 3 seasons, okay? That there is no reoccurring bad guys unless they're a big part of it. For example, Harvey Dent, if they didn't do Two-Face, then yes, having him as a reoccurring character is because he has an idea of what the city is. When it comes to Batman, the other thing that people tend to forget is Gotham is what's the story of it. It's always the Gotham, and it's because about the police.
Gotham is its own character, yes.
Exactly. It's about the police. It's about the politics. It's about all that kind of stuff. And so when you bring in stuff, yeah. So when you bring in stuff like, so for them to chain it, it was great. And see, that's where I really loved it, is the only time there was the one shot I loved, and that was Clayface, because it was a great twist on it. You know what I mean? Everything else just seemed like we're adding bits to the main story to the end, but we have to make sure that we have enough villains. Honestly, if you took out a lot of these villains in my eyes, this might have been a better show, or if you at least weren't forcing it. For example, if Harley Quinn still played a psychiatrist and she never did this villainy stuff, you could lead into another season.
I would have not had Harvey Dent turn in season 1. I would have waited.
Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would give it time. And see, the thing is, for example, the Penguin thing. Where's Penguin now? Penguin is also a big part of the politics because of being a mob boss and everything else. And then no show anymore. But then again, we do this whole story with Harley Quinn that's a psychiatrist with Wayne. And it's like, why is it we're getting a bigger story for her, but then one off?
But
Penguin?
That's how a lot of this feels. And the biggest problem with this entire show, the biggest problem, is the severe lack of Batman. It's not really about Batman for a show called Batman. It's about all the other people. It's about Barbara Gordon and Harley Quinn and Commissioner Gordon and like them, Harvey Dent doing what they're doing, and Batman just happens to be involved with some of it.
Yeah, well, and I agree. Well, see, the thing is, that's the one great thing about Batman. It's always the extra characters, the bad guys. It actually is a big part of why Batman is successful as well, too. But like, looking at the grander picture, I look at it this way. Okay, setting the storyline is you have Harvey Dent. He becomes he's a lawyer, becomes district attorney, going for mayor. Boom. That's a storyline that can fit a whole thing. You have Penguin. Penguin's a character that's a mob boss, runs communities. You know how Falcone could have been in there, all those other characters and everything, or Thorn and everything, okay? Boom. But it's like, why is it you stuck with the Harvey Dent story, but then drop Penguin? Like, there's no balance in that situation. And then at the same time, you're throwing in these other ones that don't feel core to the story. I'll use Clayface thing. Clayface is a one shot, but Clayface could have been, and it still could be, like JD said, a broader part of the story. But then, like Harley Quinn, I get why she's there, but I feel like that was trying to be a fan service situation. She would have been a great psychiatrist, lead into that story later on, and then maybe she does the psychiatric with Joker, and we could do that in season 2 and actually get Joker. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, like, I don't disagree with your point. I just think that you got to just look at it from what they tried to do. I don't really mind the Harley Quinn thing, but I kind of agree with you. Like, you could have let her manipulate and go on longer. There could have been more politicking happening before you find out what she's actually doing. Exactly. But I mean, realistically, like it's pretty good. Like, I'm not going to complain. There's a lot of good in the show. The detectiving aspect, I really love.
I really love that.
Anyways, we should end this though. We should end this.
Okay, well, JD's not here.
No, I'm here.
With us,
I'm here. One last thing. I think instead of calling this Batman the Cape Crusader, this maybe could have benefited as, like, remember we were supposed to get that GCPD TV show. I think you have little snippets of Batman here and there where Batman is just lurking in the shadows, and it's more of a GCPD series.
And because that's how this feels.
Yeah, because I heard while I was playing with the fake cat.
Okay.
Fake cat.
See, this is my final statement. This show is good in my eyes. I feel it was too much of trying to do fan service at some points when they could have done fan service properly. And I'm not referring to gender bending or anything like that.
Yeah, at least we got a Killer Croc cameo.
I know, I saw that with the circus. Like, that's Killer Croc. But see, that's my point right there.
They do a lot of that. They show you Dick Grayson.
Exactly. That's a lot of ways to implement characters that don't have to be core to the situation. But then again, the Harley Quinn thing was the one that I don't know why that and some other stuff that bothered. There's one other one, but anyway, I can't remember what I said earlier. Oh, the circus one kind of bothered me. You know what I mean? But like honestly, show was great.
The ghost one
But like
bothered me the most.
yeah, actually that one did too.
One and the carnival, because it's like so supernatural out of nowhere, and then you never get that for the rest of the show. You have 2 back-to-back episodes,
Yeah.
all supernatural, and then it's just over. Where's
Like,
Scooby-Doo?
No, but to end it, this show could have been a situation where it was grounded in old serial kind of like crime dramas
Yeah.
with Batman and the cartoons. You know, when you bring in the supernatural characters and when you do these one-shot situations that don't bigger part of the story, again, that circus does not implicate the whole story. That ghost thing doesn't implicate the story. But then Clayface, that could be a big part of the major story. Harley Quinn, major part of the bigger story because they all have something to do with each other.
I was waiting for them to pull up the ghost mask and it was Old Man Jenkins all along.
I was just hoping it was gonna be Gray Ghost.
But either way, I enjoyed it, but I think they should have sat back and thought about what they were doing a little more and didn't try to be like, we're going to try to,
Which
appease the
surprises
fans
me
and
from Bruce Timm.
There better be the question at some point in this show.
Oh yeah.
And then for one, and then the
Condiment
Joker
Man,
thing,
Condiment King.
I literally through the whole series like, when are they going to show Joker? They have to because you don't.
I think they should have held off Joker till season 2.
I like
agree
that.
with that.
There was restraint. It was like a little nugget at the end.
Yeah.
But see again, that's where I was hoping to have Harley Quinn actually.
But I agreed with you about maybe holding off until Harvey Dent. Who was it that said hold off Harvey Dent churning until season 2?
We both did till season 2. We should have did that. I think it would have been way smarter. Anyways, we got to end this episode. Okay, we're past the time. Thank you for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments, and check out JD's channel. We're doing a tier list. Bye.